I can see why he would have a point because, his father commanded this sort of kind of like Golden Army. It seemed like they were a dominant force in sort of their heyday. And then it seems like his father kind of like gave that all up just to make peace with the humans, where he feels like, they're probably better than the humans and he feels like they should be the ones that are like ruling and stuff like that. So in terms of like his motivations, you can kind of understand it because you're almost playing like lapdog. It's almost, again, it's like similar to they're not necessarily playing lapdog because it seems like there's like this huge segregation where their world and the human world doesn't really interact per se, but it's almost like his father chose to play lapdog to the humans in terms of like making this priestry, and again that's like similar to Hellboy, who's just kind of working for the humans, who was their kind of like hired gun essentially. Yeah. So it did make sense, but the villain as a whole didn't really move me.
And there's also this sense that the humans are not keeping up their end of the bargain, right? They say basically we split the world in half. Humans get the cities, elves get the forests, but humans are chopping down the forests.
I think I missed that in this movie. I don't know if they.
I don't think they make a big deal out of it, but there's the sense of we have a treaty and humans have not honored it. Mm-hmm. Because this whole thing about where the king says it's human nature to kind of to expand in its elven nature to honor agreements or something like that. And then the prince looks around and sees how the elven kingdom is like reduced to like 20 people in some ruins, and he asks, where's the honor in this? Mm-hmm. And I think that has the same problem as Ocean Master in the Aquaman movies. It's the same deal where Ocean Master had the same grievance, right? That the surface doesn't respect the underwater kingdoms and that he's going to war against them and he wants to wipe them out because there's no coexisting with the surface people. Except he's hiding from the surface people and he's not given them a reason to even notice that like Atlantis exists. Mm-hmm. And here I didn't see any attempt by the elves to point this out to humans, right? Like if there had been like you could imagine a scene where there's like a session of the United Nations and then the elves crash it and pull out this 3,000-year-old or 1,000-year-old contract and say, here you haven't been upholding your deal, you retreat from all the forests, otherwise there's war, and then they get laughed out of the room because nobody knows who the elves are. Like that would at least be a motive. But I think that's completely missing here, where you can't complain that somebody doesn't respect your position if you've never told them your position. Mm-hmm. And I think that completely kills the villain.
There wasn't really much of history that was shown between the humans and his people. It was only like a couple of words said here, and then obviously when he ended up killing his dad, obviously you heard a bit there as well. But in terms of like just seeing that world and seeing that story between the humans and his people, like there wasn't really much besides obviously the storytelling when obviously Hellboy's dad told him the story. No, it wasn't Hellboy's dad that told him the story. It was it Hellboy's dad that told him the story?
Professor Broom told him the story of the Golden Army.
Yes.
As a child.
Yeah, so you see bits here and there, but not enough to make like for us to be engaged in that storyline.
Mm-hmm. I think the scenario is interesting enough and makes sense. It's just that not enough attention is paid. Like he goes from being in exile for 1,000 years directly to let's start killing humans because they're in violation of this treaty that they don't even know exists. So that is kind of the problem.